uh, Dino Fest this weekend in the town's common,
Yes.
checking them out? It was. Okay.
Yes,
So this is
I
just-
sent her,
this
yeah,
is
any of the
standard
temporary
stuff then.
food permits. Yeah, standard
Yep.
procedure. Once you okay it, I send them to her, give her the dates of when the event is, and she goes out. She's supposed to
Okay.
go out on the morning of the event.
Colleen,
Okay. No,
is there a serve safe? Lee brought it up. I saw the
There is.
allergens. There is.
Oh, I think it's, I think it's with, I think it was with the stuff here. It'd say allergy awareness, and then there was another one, certified professional food manager.
And does that mean
that
it's serve safe?
Is that a plan
Yeah.
words or is that the real thing?
Yeah, it's by a different company, but it's the same type of thing. It's an accredited program. It's by Prometric. So
Gotcha.
has met all
So
those
it's-
professional requirements for certification of food service safety and sanitation.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
as far as the
There was
city
an exam
Massachusetts
and
goes,
everything.
that's okay. Okay. All right, thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
I am okay with that too, Colleen. So we'll have
Okay,
Glenn inspect that.
yeah.
I've been, before we forget it, Lee,
Yes.
I've got on the 12th, I think the 12th of October, I have a colonoscopy. And,
Yeah.
and I'm probably should plan on not being at this meeting. So we can't have this meeting. And I'm guessing moving it to Monday is my prep night. So I'm guessing that's not a good time.
Yeah, that's not gonna work out.
So what do we want to do with that meeting?
Do we just roll the dice if it's this light of an agenda, just don't worry about it? Or if it becomes heavier as we go towards that date range, do we move it to maybe Thursday night or something, depending on how much work there is?
We could do that. We could just say we're going to cancel that meeting, Colleen. We won't have one for that
Okay,
unless something comes up, and then we'll just have the Thursday before or something. If it looks like there's stuff that has to get done, then we'll do it. As Lee says, we'll have enough time, and we'll just schedule it for
post it, right,
say
sure.
Thursday or whatever. Okay, so
Okay.
that's
But if it's like tonight, then there's no one who's gonna miss anything because there's nothing going on.
that's right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so Colleen, you're gonna be the only one who's gonna know whether or not we need to,
Yeah, and I'll run that by you guys.
Go
I'll
at
send you an email if some stuff comes up and say, do you want to, schedule one or hold it till the next meeting? Yeah, I'll let you
Okay.
know.
Okay.
all right, thank you.
The next thing that I have is the neighbor complaint at 156 New Ludlow Road. I haven't gone out there. I went out there before, and the pipe that they were complaining about, it was obviously not being used for water to come out. And the real issue is they've got a water table that's probably 2 feet deep. And so everybody's basements are flooding. And I guess I can go out. I can go out and look at it.
And there's just nowhere for it to go.
Oh, no. Their backyards are a little lower, but just not really very low. And it's just a problem. So, but I'll look and see if the pipe, I'll go over there and I'll look and see if there's signs. And if there are signs, I'll ask the Mrs. Russell, I think, owns that house, and just ask her why she can't run her pipe back into her backyard instead of in the neighbors. But it was in the backyard the last time I saw it. It one that was active was going way out in the back. The one that the neighbor was complaining about was a smashed pipe that hadn't been used. But I'll look. I'll go look. The next thing that I have it looking at is the grant for the air sensors. I looked at that one, and I got hung up. There's actually, the form is very easy to do, relatively easy. That it's just a form that's on the internet that I can fill up. I don't know. I haven't gone far enough to find out that I can type it and I can print it. But I certainly could get to the point that I could fill it out and submit it if we wanted. We said we were going to submit. And so there are two things that they absolutely want to talk about, and that's the environmental justice people, I think, what they're talking about. And I think the low income housing fits that. And because that's how I think the people got that housing. And Colleen's looking to see if she can find that answer. And if she can't, I may just say that it is if we can't get that data. But hopefully Colleen can find that answer. And the other, and this thing's got to be submitted in the next couple weeks. The other is we have to decide how many sensors we're going to ask for. You can go between 5 and 10. I'm still at the feeling that saying for a little Granby that doesn't have much of this problem, because the problem comes from diesel engines, that saying we're going to go 10 when there's only a total of $200,000 available for the whole state, I think we're going to end up with nothing. What I thought is either 5 or 6. I would have proposed that we did one, obviously at the low income housing, because that's the one that may end up letting us get the grant. But then so that would be one. I originally thought, since McDuffie wants to be involved with the analysis, we put one at McDuffie. At least one at, let's say, the high school. But originally I said, well, there's buses parked at both the high school and East Meadow. If we did 2 there, and then I said, well, right at the entrance to the town, at the town hall, where Chris Martin is, that gets us 5. And then if we looked at a 6th one, I would have put over on New Ludlow Road near the asphalt plant. So that would be,
that's a good idea.
That would be 6. If I were to drop one out, I probably would drop East Meadow School, but my preference would be for 6.
Yes. So it covers the schools, McDuffie, town hall / council on aging. That's all good.
Low income, and then a place that, the asphalt plant could have that kind of stuff blowing out into the air.
Well, when you look at the type of work they do and the type of vehicles that move that material, that's I believe the primary target that we're looking at.
Yeah, I think so too. It may not be, but
at least we'll try to start getting the sensor and getting some analysis, and it'll take away the guesswork, and then we'll know for sure.
Okay. Do you want me to just fill out the form and just submit it electronically? Just when it said send, just send it?
Sure. I mean, if you want me to, if it's cumbersome and you want me to do some of it, I'll do that. Whatever.
I don't think so. I've got it started, and supposedly it saved it for me. So we'll see. As long as I know we're going to do it, if I can get the information from Colleen on whether those really are the environmental justice people, and that gets me the things that they wanted to know was where we thought we were going to put them, whether we were going to get some educational involvement, and whether we were going to do any environmental justice folk. So it really does hit. We're in a spot that I think I can paint a reasonable picture that we might be able to get these things.
Yeah, and I think your suggestion of the property, the low income on Amherst Street, could be an important decision for inclusion.
Yeah, because that's for sure. When you look at this program, it says that they want it, directed at the environmental justice folks. So at least it catches I'm guessing there are other places in town that might fit, but it's much harder to catch than a group right there. So I'll do that. So that's good. On your list, Colleen, you've got mask order. You just went through it, that what you're going through, that people not obeying it. I went into All Power, and All Power didn't even have a sign. No one in there had masks, and Colleen called up, but it's so, I'm hoping that now Springfield is doing it, and maybe it's Greenfield that's doing it next too. So, but if you look at this thing, it requires somebody to go and write a ticket and give it to somebody, and we don't even have the tickets, and Springfield, and I saw Colleen pointed it out. She saw the same thing. Is their health director and is saying, we're asking the businesses to enforce this. But Colleen ran into trouble with Dickinson Farm, and they said our people are wearing them, and we've got the signs, and when people come in, I'm not going to throw them out of the store.
Yeah, I mean, what I do is I have a box of, disposable masks, and a lot of people, it's a whoops, I forgot, and I just offer them the mask. And 99 out of 100 put the mask on, get what they want to get, and everybody leaves happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of just saying you don't have a mask, get the hell out. We offer them the protection for their benefit and mine and my staff. And, whatever. The cost doesn't really matter because you just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And they leave. I'm not insulting anybody. But by the same token, just saying, well, I didn't want to not sell $15 worth of flowers. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and the others stop and say, I didn't want to not sell the guy a $10 oil filter because he didn't have a mask. And where do you draw the line in the sand once you start doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
There's some interesting. Go ahead, Lee.
No, I didn't know. I mean, the masks are cheap enough, and I don't think it's our responsibility to start securing masks for these businesses in town. And they don't have to do it, but it's cheap enough to accomplish this thing, really.
Yeah.
It's not. You're not giving somebody a $7 mask.
Yeah, and then when you look at it, especially if you look at the surgical masks, I don't wear them anymore because I use the N95s, but it seemed to me like the last time that I looked at them, they're down at 10 or 15 cents each.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
Exactly my point. Yep.
Oh,
Mhm.
there isn't some information that's soft information right now on breakthroughs and what's happening to vaccinations. And it's hard to dig up, but I'm seeing that Pfizer is dropping off. What I'm definitely seeing is a lot of breakthrough numbers, and more than I would expect. But the numbers that I'm seeing are that after 7 months or so, Pfizer's efficacy is dropping off to like 55%. And it's dropping very, very quickly. And they're still saying, oh, but it's still protecting against the severe disease. But I wonder how long that's going to continue. But Moderna is also starting to drop off, not as fast. And they're thinking it's because of the difference in lag between the two shots, that the 3-week separation versus the 4-week separation. Looks like the longer distance is making the vaccine stay longer, and that they're studying what's happening in England, because England ended up going a totally different way. They said that it was better to give as many people a single shot as you could and then delay the second shot. And so the average gap in England is 11 weeks. And so they're trying to see what's happening to the efficacy there. So I think our third shot is probably coming. And it's just, but it's soft numbers. That's the problem. That there's studies that have been done, like a big pharmacy, a pharmacy like a CVS, and doing it on their own employees, and so they're funny studies. And I think when Colleen is saying, oh, they've been vaccinated, I don't think the data is there, but I don't think we're tracking, or maybe even the state is not tracking breakthrough versus type of vaccination. And so it's...
Well, I can see the kind of vaccine that they've had, and I will say that I have noticed that more of the breakthroughs have been with, just in our town, just in Granby, but when I've been doing it more were Pfizer, were breakthroughs. And I thought, well, either more people in town could have the Pfizer vaccine, or, like you said, maybe it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, and if you think about how many shots that Eastfield Mall gave out, and they were all Pfizer. That was a Pfizer shot, a site. So who knows? Alan, Alan, I see that you're there. Maybe you're just there not listening. No, I guess Alan will speak up when he gets here.
All right. Okay. So does this England study suggest?
Okay, Alan.
Alan.
We discussed your situation on lot 2 on Amher Street, and as I predicted, what Lee and I have decided is that we will not approve it until we get another deep hole and perk tests in that eastern end of the SAS, and also that you do the work around the proposed well to make sure that no one else's septic system is stepping on that well.
I'm not shocked, Richard.
Okay. So that's what we
No, I
that's what we
understand,
decided.
and I will call you during the week and we'll get something scheduled.
Okay, that's fine.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
You too. Good night, folks.
All right, Alan.
Yep. Take care.
Now, Lee, what were you saying about England?
So the English study where they had an 11-week spread versus our 21 or 28-day spread is showing that it's appears to be more beneficial to the population than the way we did things in this country. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, I don't know that answer yet. I don't know that answer. And what the stuff that, as I said, the soft numbers that I'm seeing are they're surmising that it's the difference between the 21 and the 28 days, but they weren't sure. And that what they were saying though, is that if there is a relationship, then the English method of giving the shots should really, point it out. But again, it takes, you got to get the time that, UK was behind us, and now you're going to have to see how it plays out. But my guess is that we're going to be getting third shots before they know all the answers anyways. Because I had a feeling that Pfizer knew this anyways, and that's why they were saying, hey, we need a third shot.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's been a few people who got the shots, and I don't know if they were Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson, and ended up with COVID in the hospital. And when they ran some labs on them, they had zero
antibodies
at all.
Huh.
Yeah, and this was only maybe in the 12 to 16 week after the second shot.
Huh.
So you would think there'd be a little more protection than a zero, but they were all pretty near flatlined or less than 5%.
Wow.
So it's, I mean, not everybody, but certainly we're a long way from saying that you got your vaccination, and you got these different states and cities, New York or whoever, that says Boston, okay, you got vaccinations, go out to dinner. Yeah. That may not really be the case.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see.
So anyways, next one that I've got is mail, email, phone calls. I don't know that do we have any of that we haven't discussed, Colleen?
No, I don't think there's anything that I can think of.
And then finally is other business. I don't think.
The only thing I am thinking, I know that Greg Briggs sent an email regarding Dollar General at one point, maybe last week or so.
Oh, that is true. He said the water was high. I periodically drive by there. I have to be careful because it has to be longer than 72 hours after a rainstorm, because they're allowed to have water in it for up to 72 hours. But I haven't seen that the upper pond empty at all. So, and you haven't heard anything about it, Colleen, from the owners?
No, I emailed two different people from Dollar General to see if I could find anything out, and nobody has gotten back. And I think I left a voicemail for the district manager, but no one has gotten back to me at all.
Didn't they elicit some data that they knew. I mean, we all knew about this last spring and that it was potentially problematic. But when the second round came up, this last was July. I don't remember. But anyway, that somebody on the upper management tree was aware of it and was going to be addressing this with some engineering firm sooner rather than later. And I think that time has lapsed long past.
Well, Greg Briggs told me that he was there when an engineering firm was there, but we certainly haven't heard anything about it. And I'm just wondering how we go about putting some pressure. You know, one of them is to go and say, okay, we're gonna hire our own engineering company and fix the whole problem ourselves, and then have to go after them for the money, which that's not so funny to try to do that. I just wonder if you did something like saying, hey, this stormwater system, because it's flooded all the time, isn't going in the ground, it's going down into the catch basin through that overflow pipe and into the brook. And so you're not providing the environmental protection that you're supposed to. So what we're going to say is you can't park in the parking lot. You don't shut them down. You don't shut them down. You just say you can't be parking in the parking lot and bring trucks into it because it's not working right.
Oh, now back during the permitting process, the state had to be involved in this whole thing, correct?
Well, apparently what they did is approve what the engineer designed.
Oh, all right. So there wasn't any necessarily, because there's a million of these buildings going up all over the state. They don't go to every one. They just take the engineering report and the data looks good.
And approve
it. And go on everyone's integrity and professionalism to put in what should work and don't worry about it. Okay.
Certainly something that wasn't in the original plans is that land drain that goes in there. You know, that French drain that goes up on that hill and comes down. Yeah. That's that 4-inch pipe. But that doesn't flow all the time. But in fact, I don't know if it's flowing right now. In the middle of the summer, when it had rained, it was a big flow of water going in there. But
yeah, that pipe was about 2/3 at times dumping into that artificial pond they created, or whatever you want to call it.
Right. And that's not supposed to be done. So
is the state accessible to a town like Granby to help us answer these questions that we can't necessarily expend any money on hiring someone to look into this for us? If the whole thing was not the whole thing, but if the end result is that it's a failure, how do we convince Dollar General or anybody else like that to do the right thing here?
Well, once we go through the public nuisance route, we have some pretty big teeth. The question is, what do we want to do with it? And if we're going to go that route, we probably have to, instead of just saying, hey, we think it's a public nuisance, we probably have to go through the public nuisance process. My question for us is, with the mosquito season coming to an end in what, a month? By the time we do anything, can we, can we do anything? And while it's still a public nuisance.
Well, yeah, I mean, right. So mid-October, it's pretty much over until the following late March, April, depending on the winter. But if, and no crystal ball here, but if we continue the wet pattern that we've had this summer, this could theoretically freeze up. Whether or not it will spill over into 202, not our problem. But it's not working now, and if we get a lot of snow, it could be something to be difficult to deal with. So do we reach out to the town attorney about going forward, or I'm not sure procedurally how we're supposed to get from A to B, make these guys pay attention to us, because they don't appear to have any real concern for making anything go away here.
Yeah. I wonder if it's, Colleen, I don't know if you guys can hear me right now. And Colleen, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I can.
Okay. I'm wondering if it's worthwhile, Colleen, for you to get in touch with them one more time and say that if we don't hear from them, we're going to start the enforcement part of the public nuisance process. And for the short term, our plan will be to shut their parking lot down. And say that's what we'll be exploring first. And maybe that's going to get their attention. But I think, Lee, what we shouldn't do is allow this to just keep going and start this all over again next spring when the mosquitoes come. What we should be doing is...
And that's exactly, without trying to be an unreasonable, small-town idiot, if they would at least respond and work with us, we could make something happen here. But since Colleen has reached out to them on multiple occasions, and we only exist because of where it's located, but as far as I get the impression, they're a big place and they've got multiple locations, and deal with it type of outlook. And I it's corporate, whatever, but still, they had every opportunity during new construction to rectify what we knew was the problem from day one. And here we are, I don't know how many months, 2 years into this thing, and it's not much better than it was at the very beginning.
Okay, do you know the other thing I can do, Colleen? If you go that route, I'll go also the route to the town attorney and find out what we can do in terms of limiting their ability to do business. Because I think that my gut feeling is until their business operation is threatened, I think it's just easier for them to just say, thumb their nose at us and say, we don't have to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, if you give them a $1,000 fine, for
Don't do that again, Michael.
weeks and weeks and weeks, for them, $1,000 doesn't mean a lot.
Yeah.
Not that that's what we're going to do, but you know my point. If you can't get their attention the nice way, then we have to be somewhat more aggressive and try to do it the other way. And the only thing you understand is limited income.
Yeah.
Doesn't appear that they really want to work with us. There's been no
Michael, can you
communication.
shut that off, please, for a couple?
So what else can we think?
Yeah. So, okay. So Colleen, if you do that, and I'll talk to the attorney, and let's see what we can do for next meeting.
Okay. Should I send a letter or should I call him? Try to call him? I don't know if I'll get an answer from him.
Well, probably I would maybe make the call and then say, I'm just sending a confirming letter.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can tell them we're contacting the attorney to see what we can do, and our goal is to stop their operation.
Because I think we said in one of the letters about pulling a permit from them.
Yeah. So if we just tell them that our goal is to stop them from being able to use the parking lot.
Okay.
And then they'll at least understand what's coming.
Yeah.
So, and tell them that we're very upset that they haven't even gotten back to us. But as Herb pointed out, and I saw it a month ago, that apparently the building sold to somebody else. So I don't know whether they purposely put this in the hands of a third party to say, now it's a shell corporation or something that says, now you can't get at us. And again, if you go, instead of saying, we're not going after the person that owns it, we're going after the activity that causes the pollution. And we're going to stop that activity, which is your parking. Then I think they're gonna start to be concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So
that, I believe, was the business model for these guys. They build these things in different towns all over the country, and they get them up and running. And then they look for somebody who wants to be their own boss, quote unquote. They have a going business, close to home, whatever.
Yeah.
And for financial investment, you can make on paper X amount of dollars, be your own boss, and blah 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 blah. So they may have sold this, or they probably did sell this to a individual or individuals. As is where is.
Yeah.
So now, the Dollar General corporate office located wherever the heck they are, may feel that they are removed from this, even though I don't think they are, because they were the owners during the construction and during the initial problem. So just because they sold it, I don't think should give them a free hall pass to get out of this thing and stick it with somebody else who's trying to make a living. I don't know that for sure.
So I'll give the call and I'll get back. We'll deal with it next week. But other than that, I think we're done.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. Have a good night.
All right, folks.